Hello, YouTube. Welcome to part 25. Are you having your quarter life crisis yet? No, you're not. Of course you're not. Part 25 is awesome. We got some juicy stuff going on. You probably, if you were binging this, you probably hopped right over because you want to see what old Daddy Odin has to say about us having a doggo tear holes in realms. Well, we're going to find out. But before we find out, you should like this stream. You should follow the links down in the description. And you should leave a comment because that would be super cool of you. If you think it's cool that I stream, I think it's cool that you engage. So thanks for making that a reciprocal process. All right, let's make it happen. See what old Uncle Odin has. I called him Daddy and Uncle in the same sentence. It's fine. All right, let's find out what he has to say. I don't know. Maybe he'll be our uncle at the end of this. Take me there, Heimdall. Yeah, I'm coming through. I'm just a little nervous. Oh boy. Hey.
We have a lot to discuss.
Loki, I'll meet you in your room when I'm finished here. Shouldn't be long.
Okay. My mission went quite well, Allfather. Secured the item we've discussed. The mask, on the other hand, well, they are merely children.
Don't mind me behind this pillar, just hiding, just
The
creeping.
adults need to talk now, Loki.
Oh,
Run along and play.
sorry, you didn't realize you could see me here.
The Allfather's patience is wearing thin, as is mine. Go.
I'm gonna assert dominance, bitch. What are you gonna do about it, huh? Huh?
Maybe if we just stare at him and say nothing, he'll get the hint and leave.
Oh, just tell me what happened already.
Not until he leaves.
Come on, huh? Ooh, that's interesting that Odin was willing to have me hear it. You little bitch, Heimdall. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Huh? Huh? You got a problem, bud? You got a problem, bud? Huh? Look at that cute little horn you got attached to your butt. Huh? Huh? You'll bet you could fit that whole horn up your butt if your head wasn't so far up there, eh? All right, I'm out of here. Thank you, Poca, for the 32 months.
Thanks a lot.
Thrud,
I don't want to hear it. Everything was fine until you showed up.
I'll make it up to you. I swear.
Okay, so this is actually really... Now, whether this was orchestrated by Odin or not, I want to set the table a bit here, because if this is orchestrated by him, it's pretty masterfully done. If it's not orchestrated by him and he reads this, he's gonna take advantage. Atreus is isolated out now here. So he came to Odin in isolation and then started to get connected with Thrud here, starting to make some friends, run around with Thor. Well, Atreus is most able to be manipulated when he feels as if he has let people down and is isolated. So Odin coming to Atreus's room and essentially reasserting that he's the one that controls the space and catching Atreus while he's isolated and feeling down about himself for something that he did really opens the door for him to take advantage. Now, the reason that this is something that's worth me talking about is that this is actually a tactic that can be used by adults who abuse children and predators who groom children. You will actually sometimes see this kind of behavior where they will basically say, like, shame on you, or this was bad, or you get kids feeling isolated and bad about themselves, because then you can really swoop in and control the narrative and position yourself in a particular way as it relates to kids. Now, am I saying that, like, Odin's a predator? No, but Odin is clearly manipulative and clearly has his own agenda, and this is the exact kind of position that he would want Atreus to be in as a means to control this narrative and make it go in the way he needs to. The whole reason, by the way, which Atreus is not catching on to, and I wouldn't expect him to, is because I think Atreus is a real threat to Odin, which is why Odin is making such an effort to try to integrate him and control what's going on for him. Like, if Atreus didn't mean anything and wasn't a threat, Odin wouldn't spend the time of day with him. He would just put a raven in a perch and it would be fine. The fact that Odin is so closely trying to work on this is truly a reflection of just how threatening Atreus potentially is to him if he doesn't control Atreus' narrative. Very important thing for us to consider as we go walk into our room and have Odin come in here to say hello. Now, can I go talk and say, can I go?
I don't really want to talk right now.
Oh, there you are. Jeez. Okay, boundaries. I'll respect your boundaries, Thrud. Woo! Oh, we got another combo we can...
She hates me, Thor. My little girl. You can't keep undermining me like that. Training her behind my back?
She's gonna do what she wants. Wouldn't you rather I at least help? Know where she's going, keep her safe?
No, I'd rather us be a team. I'd like you to back me up for once. You're ruining what little relationship I have left with her.
I'm doing the best I can to keep this family together.
If that were true, you'd stand up to your father for once in your life.
You're right.
Honey.
No. You're right. What kind of example am I setting? Seems the only thing I can do right these days is destroy everything around me.
We need you here. I need you. I can't do this by myself.
Whoa. There is some real relationship maturity buried in the process of that conversation. Truly. Arguments happen. That's okay. Being the parent of a teenager is incredibly difficult. And in this case, Sif and Thor are trying to figure out how to navigate the trials and tribulations of having a teenage daughter. So the first part I want to talk about here is there is a very real triangle of difficulty that you have to deal with when you have child and then two parents. And parents sometimes get so wrapped up in what their kid thinks and feels about them that they end up making poor parenting decisions as a means to try to maintain that relationship or get it into a space that they want it to be. Which is why I'm actually Team Thor here, not Team Sif. Because Thor is correct. Thrud is gonna do what she wants to do. She is pretty headstrong. She has some ideas of what her identity is and where she wants to go. And Thor acknowledging that he has the ability to get closer to her and keep tabs on her by connecting with her and facilitating those interests is dead on. It's exactly what you would want the parent of a teenager to do. Sif, on the other hand, is so wrapped up in the fact that Thrud is pushing against her and that she doesn't have a good relationship with her that she's then getting angry at Thor for his ability to connect with her rather than trying to change her own behavior and orientation to her daughter. And she's pinning Thor into a difficult spot by saying, well, you're supposed to back me up as the fellow parent. Like, when are you going to be on my side with this? And whether you like it or not, the second you become a parent, your role and relationship as parent becomes the number one. Your co-parenting relationship drops to number two. And that means in some ways that you have to make certain concessions as parents in the spirit of trying to facilitate a good relationship with your kids. And sometimes it means that you have to back off of some of your own rigidly held values and insecurities and meet your kid where they're at so that you can actually learn more about them and inadvertently gain more of an ability to actually control their behavior. Because if Thrud actually felt understood by both her mother and her father, she might approach them with this stuff. And she might be more willing to accept their influence. Where maybe Sif says, I don't think this is a good idea, and Thrud is more interested in what she has to say because Sif has made an effort. Because back when we heard that conversation she had last episode, Thrud was not feeling particularly understood by her mother. So Thor is in the proper headspace here. And the need to problem solve that as parents is incredibly important. And sometimes it means that you have to give up your own notion of what you are supposed to be and whatnot. Because your kid's not supposed to like you. They don't have to like you. They don't have to, hell, they don't have to love you. They don't have to care about you. You decided to have her, so you want to be the one that facilitates a good relationship with her. Now, the reason that I said there was a lot of relationship maturity here is because you can tell they have a lot of years under their belt and a lot of conflict that they've learned to resolve, because this conversation ended with softening rather than escalation. They said the hard thing directly. They didn't beat around the bush on this. And I commend them. Like, it's really easy to look at when Sif was like, you know, the real problem here is your father. It's really easy for us to sit back and, like, if you're a person that consumes a bunch of shitty dog shit TV, of like reality TV where everything is just like amplified to extremes, you probably hear her say that and go, oh shit. And that's really not how you should react to that. Her saying that is a very vulnerable thing to do. And it's really taking a risk, because it is saying like, look, there's a very real influence in our relationship in the way that you handle your father. And it's affecting the way that we handle our relationship and our child. That's literally what she's saying there. She's not stirring up drama. She's literally commenting on a dynamic that is real. And what I appreciate about that is that instead of Thor blowing up, Thor looked at it and was like, okay, this is my wife saying this. You know what? You're right. You know how hard that is? The relationship he has with Odin is brutal. And he's known Odin far longer than he's known Sif. So the fact that he was able to meet her in that, given that she was so direct about it, and then soften, and then you see them come together. Well, you don't see it, you hear them. You hear them come together and problem solve that. And then they get a little bit more into their vulnerable space, is because they have the maturity to realize this conversation that's heated is heated because it's important. It's not heated because it's drama. It's not heated because we hate each other. It's not heated because you're trying to get under my skin. It's heated because these are very real dynamics that affect our relationship. And if you can take that frame when you're engaged in conflict and say, okay, so how do we resolve this via problem solving and coming together? You are going to have the kind of outcome here that Sif and Thor have. So important. So the maturity of their relationship in that interaction is incredibly important to point out. Now, get out of here, Atreus, before they catch you eavesdropping.
I really messed up. It's times like this I really miss home. Ingrid, did you have a home before you came here? Someone who took care of you? That sounds like a yes. Maybe I could help you find them without, you know, screwing it up. Sound like a plan?
Here we go. Now, before we open this door, Atreus is so steeped in the idea that he screwed this up that he's not going to actually think about any of what I'm about to say, which is really a shame. Atreus feeling like a letdown isn't just related to Odin here. It's related to really the entire grand scheme of things. He's let his father down by leaving, by lying to him, by going to Asgard. He knows it. He screwed up because he doesn't have the mask completely intact, which means that his plan has fallen short, which means maybe all of this is for naught. And he's potentially disappointed Odin, who he's trying to facilitate some kind of relationship with. And because he does not possess the cognitive capability to see all of that in context, what he's doing is he's personalizing it, and he's creating a self-value attribution as a result. So instead of saying like, yep, some stuff's not going my way, but it's cool, I'm going to figure it out, he's lost in, I'm a screw-up. Which is exactly where Odin needs him to be. Because what Odin can do now is play that to his advantage. So if Atreus feeling vulnerable because he's a screw-up is on the table, what that means is that Odin can give him purpose. He can give him the way that he can get out of being a screw-up. He can manipulate that such that, like, hey, man, I get it. Yeah, you really messed that up, but here's how you can make it right. And because Atreus is so wrapped up in trying to make sure that he's not a screw-up, he is likely to do whatever Odin is going to request of him or influence him in the direction of, because it will put his identity back in place as not a screw-up. And that's the scary thing here. And we're going to see what happens. But I'm not confident in how this is going to go.
May I come in? I heard what Heimdall had to say. I'd like to hear it from you. What happened?
Oh, we're off to a good start. Oh my God. All right, get ready. I'm probably going to pause a lot here because I'm going to try to dissect this as this happens. That's a brilliant way to start this off, because now Heimdall is in the room, even though Heimdall's not in the room. And it's great because when he says Heimdall told me what happens, he presents Atreus with a real, legitimate form of cognitive dissonance that he has to navigate on the fly, which is not good. What it means is that he has to do one of two things. He either has to say Heimdall is full of shit, here's what actually happened, and pin himself against Heimdall, which is a scary thing to do given the nature of the relationship between Heimdall and Odin. Or he has to ask himself, well, what would Heimdall have said? And do I corroborate that story potentially at my own risk to perpetuate the idea that I screwed up? And what it means is that he has to go with what he thinks Heimdall said, not with what Heimdall actually said. So Odin is going to get a ton of information about the nature of Atreus' relationship to Heimdall by how Atreus answers this question. He doesn't give a shit about the story. He cares about what the nature of his relationship is to Heimdall. And he wants to know, he probably knows what happened, or probably thinks he knows what happened. So this is all about gathering as much information as possible and throwing Atreus off. As soon as he mentions Heimdall and says he told me his story, no longer is Atreus trying to consider his relationship with Odin and what he has to say to him. Now he has to consider Heimdall, who makes him anxious, and he already has a poor relationship with, and knows that Heimdall can read him like a book. And this is brutal. He has Atreus at an immediate disadvantage by the way that he approached this. And it's done. He is so nonchalantly beautiful in the way that he delivers that in order to pin Atreus down, that, like, if you're really not paying attention, that'll just float right by you. But this is not about the story. It's never about the story. Odin's a lawyer. Odin knows what happened already. And any good lawyer worth their salt never asks a question they don't know the answer to. They ask questions so that they can read what's happening while the person answers the question. That's essentially what he's doing here. Here we go.
It wasn't there. I was wrong.
Well, we all make mistakes, son.
Son. Oh, another thing that I'd like to point out, because it's just so freaking beautiful. The sun thing, it's important, but it's probably not as manipulative as it would seem on its surface. Zoom out for this. This is another important point here about how Odin is separating himself from Kratos. So, when you're a therapist, there are two systems that you're constantly engaging with. You are engaging with the direct system, which is who you have in the room, and you're also engaging with what's called the indirect system, which is anybody who's not in the room but is affected by the direct system that you're working with. So the reason I bring this up is because one of the things that Odin is doing right now, and has been doing ever since Atreus arrived in Asgard, is he is posturing himself as diametrically opposed to the way that Kratos presents himself. And he knows that Atreus is frustrated with Kratos, so he has to separate himself. So what does he do? He softens his voice. He lowers his body down to Atreus's level. He empathizes with him. He says, you know, we all make mistakes. He uses more language with Atreus. He lets him in. Everything Odin does is exactly what Kratos does not do. Kratos towers over Atreus. Kratos uses few words. Kratos is intimidating. Kratos is direct. Kratos doesn't really ask questions of Atreus. He makes observations and he makes assumptions. So if you have Atreus already frustrated with Kratos, the worst thing that you could do is present yourself similarly to Kratos, because then what's going to happen is Atreus is going to feel more self-empowerment. He's going to be more like, see, all these freaking adults, they're all the same. And you don't want that if you're Odin. You need to be different. So when he walks over to the other side of the room, says, yeah, we all make mistakes, sits down on his bed, says, come on over, and lowers himself down with a soft voice, you've never seen Kratos do that in your life. You know who does that? Faye. You know who doesn't really understand what that's like because she's been dead for a long time? Atreus. But you know who probably thinks that that's what his mother's like? Atreus. Odin is brilliant. He knows exactly what he's doing. Freaking brilliant. He is attending to the indirect system in the way that he's showing up in this.
But freeing Garm. That was a big one. Chaos is already spilling out into the other realms. We're safe here in Asgard. And everywhere else.
Oh no, your dad's in trouble.
I think I want to go home now.
Okay, if that's what you want. I meant it when I said you're not a prisoner here. It's your choice. Go, clear your mind. I know you'll be back.
This makes me so happy. Can I just say, Richard Schiff, if you're out there, man, holy shit, you killed this role. Oh! Okay, if you're watching this on YouTube, I want you to take a second, and I want you to rewind really quick to the end of my last analysis, and I want you to watch that little bit again. Okay? And I want you to listen to the way that Odin said the word here. Because it is so key, the way that he buries his messages in the way that he says things. It's not what he says always, it's how he says it. You are no prisoner here is a lot different than you're no prisoner here. When he says you're no prisoner here, what he's doing is he's playing on Atreus's conceptualization of his time with Kratos as being one that does not allow him to spread his wings and be autonomous. That it is essentially a prison to be with Kratos and Freya and Mimir, which is exactly how Atreus was feeling, which is exactly why he ran away and why he came to Asgard. That bite on the word here is so incredibly important because it creates the separation between Asgard and Midgard. That's the kind of nuance. When we talk about how language is important, it's not always just about what people say, it's about how they say it, because there's always a statement underneath a statement or underneath the question. When he says, like, I know you'll be back, that's a throwaway. That doesn't matter. It's the fact that he implied that this is not a prison and where you came from is, that bores way deep down into Atreus and his general experience and conceptualization of what it was like to be in Midgard with his father. And it's just the nuance of the way that that is delivered via the voice acting is unbelievable. It is just so perfect. And my God, does it really just drive home the consistency in the fact that Odin knows exactly what he's doing. Oh my God. Huge shout out, man. That is just, that is S tier stuff, man. S tier. Whoa. You think he said there's chaos elsewhere to lure him to want to go home? Probably. It's probably both. Everything Odin says is controlled. He is not reacting to anything that's happening here.
But before you go, I'll need the mask back. It's not that I don't trust you, you understand? It's the company you keep.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh, and Ingrid?
Please, need to go.
Oh, okay. If he's trying to get Atreus to leave, how does that benefit his ability to manipulate? Oh, stay tuned, because I'm about to tell you why. This is just, it's great. So, it felt good to come to Asgard. It felt empowering. It was something that Odin wanted to make sure that Atreus was like, hell yeah, this was the right decision. Look at this. I've got Ingrid. I've got the mask. My plan's coming together. I met Thrud. I had a good escapade with Thor. God damn. Look at this. Look at me go. One of the ways that cults ensure that people never leave is they isolate people out and they make sure that the outside world appears to be infinitely more terrible than the inside world. So when Odin says, give me the mask back and give me Ingrid, he's taking the goodies away, in part because he's essentially punishing Atreus for leaving. Even though he's allowing Atreus to leave, he is creating an association with leaving Asgard that is opposed to what his experience of coming to Asgard was. So that Asgard feels safe. He's got Ingrid beckoning him, he's got the mask, he's got all this stuff that's available to him in Asgard. It's not available to you in Midgard. And it's not because of you, Atreus. This has nothing to do with you. This has everything to do with the company you keep. Kratos and Freya and Mimir are not trustworthy. And so I can't trust you with these cool goodies when you're around them. I know you could take care of yourself. I don't mind you frolicking around Helheim and Asgard and all these places when you have the stuff, as long as you're cool with me. But if you're not going to be cool with me and you're going to go home, I need to make sure that you know that where you're going is a dangerous prison. So give me this stuff. It's great. Because what he needs, what he's doing, again, I cannot emphasize this enough, chat. What he's doing is separating himself from Kratos. When Atreus would threaten that he wanted to go or he wanted to go do something, the first thing he ever heard from Kratos was, no. You are my son. When he says, I want to go back to Midgard, Odin's immediate response of being like, all right, is him absolutely saying, yeah, dude. I respect your decisions. I respect your autonomy, which the people at home don't do. And watch how pissed they are when you get home and you say, I was in Asgard. You think your father's going to be as empathic to you as I'm being right now? Hell no. Daddy's about to be pissed. You're going to go home and you're immediately going to regret that you're home because you don't have Ingrid. You don't have anything. You're going to go home and you're going to feel like shit because everybody's going to tell you you made the wrong decision. That when you flexed your wings and you flexed your autonomy and you had an idea, you shouldn't have done that and you hurt everybody around you. I am not about to create that experience. I'm going to let you go figure it out yourself. I have already created a stable foundation for you to be punished when you leave it. It's sinister, man, but it's brilliant. This is exactly how you would manipulate him here. It's exactly what you need to do is facilitate his autonomy. He needs to be everything that Atreus perceives Kratos to not be. Because if he creates and cultivates this idea that Atreus is making the wrong decision and that he shouldn't do this or that he can't do this, he has become just another version of Kratos, which Atreus is likely to go, again, be empowered by and go back and say, screw this, and then rally Kratos to everybody go, nope, this was the wrong decision. I'm going back to my dad. And that's threatening to Odin. So Odin needs to do everything he can do to make himself seem as if an ally so that when the time comes, Atreus questions whether he's actually going to fight Odin. If he does this, maybe Atreus goes back and says, you know what, guys? Maybe Odin's not bad. Maybe we should listen to him. Maybe we shouldn't go to war. Amazing the way that Odin has controlled this situation. This is exactly what I would have expected him to do. It's unbelievably well done. Widgie, thank you so much for the raid. I appreciate you. If y'all don't follow Widgie, please make sure that you do that. I will say that we are playing God of War Ragnarok. If you don't want it spoiled, definitely leave. We are in the real thick of it here. I ask that you please don't spoil, please don't backseat. I am analyzing the game. I am a therapist. If you don't know who I am, a licensed therapist. I play cool games and I analyze them. And we are in the middle of some really seriously good stuff. So, hi, enjoy. God, look at that. I got one little motor function. One little motor function for him, and I got more to say. This is awesome. Okay, the way he drops the sword. It's a sword that Atreus wants to take care of. He cares about it. He loves Ingrid. Ingrid, panics, doesn't want to leave. He hands it to Odin. Odin just casts it aside like it's nothing. The way that Kratos just casts aside his blades. That's gonna drive Atreus nuts. Why? Because now Atreus knows that Ingrid is trapped with Odin. That wasn't a good way to treat it. I could treat you better. I want to make sure that I come back and take care of you because Atreus can't help himself. Atreus wants to help every single person he comes across. He wants to help Thrud. He wants to help Thor. He wants to help Odin. He wants to help his dad. He wants to help Freya. He wants to do everything he can to help everybody around him, including the sword. Brilliant. Oh.
Loki, when you do decide you're ready to continue our work here, Hugin will be waiting for you in your old home. You screwed up. Doesn't change the fact that you're welcome here.
Woo! Oh.
Oh, and say hi to Mimir for me.
Never thought I'd be so relieved to be back here. If you're staying, you might be waiting a while.
Oh man! Oh my God! Oh man! You want to be a real awful person? Just literally mimic Odin. Woo!
Of course.
Heidi ho!
Better use the Mystic Gateway quick. Odin was right. Freeing Garm. How did I screw up so badly?
Why don't we, Atreus, why don't we make a little bit of a smart move here, and why don't we go ahead and get out of an Aesir uniform here? Probably not a great idea to show up in Aesir armor. just saying, you know, that hardly seems like a good idea. Oh, I really hope that they can reconcile. I mean, I think if you're Kratos here, this is going to be really hard. Let's talk about this for a second, because if you're Kratos here and your son shows back up, quite literally the worst thing that you can do is be mad, like, or show your anger and punish him and get shitty with him. Like, it's literally the worst thing you can do. You get to be mad. And Kratos gets to be mad. I don't think that I don't even think it's a bad thing that he's angry about this. I think the anger is probably secondary to afraid. I think that's been pretty well established, that Kratos is just scared. And if Kratos accesses that and throws it all over Atreus when he walks through the door, he is playing right into Odin's hand, and he is really diminishing his relationship with his son in a big way. Like, the fact that Atreus is coming back here to Kratos is a big deal. And so if you're Kratos, you've got to take that frame. You have to be sitting there when your son's gone, saying to yourself, if my son comes back, I am going to be curious. I'm going to listen, and I'm going to do my best to understand what he did. I'm going to gather information, and I'm going to have to reestablish for him that I am indeed the person that he can rely on and trust. Because I have no idea what kind of number Odin did on him. Like, that's a lot of cognitive work for Kratos to do, but that's what he has to do. Because if Atreus walks through this gate and Kratos goes ham on him, he has sealed the deal on Atreus wanting to go back to Odin and feeling more comfortable with Odin and more understood by Odin. So we'll see. What do you think of how Odin connects with Atreus verbally? He doesn't actually make an effort to accompany him to danger, while Kratos does more of an effort to walk the path with him, even if it's a bit begrudging, something a teenager would pick up or care about. I mean, I think Atreus would wrongly see that as Odin believing in his abilities, rather than Odin being old and not really capable of managing himself out there, and nor having the time. Like, he doesn't have the context on Odin. So I don't think that he's likely to look at Kratos' accompaniment as being something that is good or awesome. He's more likely to look at it as something that continues to prove that he hasn't figured it out himself, and that he's not capable of doing these things himself, which is why he kept sneaking out in the first place. He wants to prove that he is capable of doing these things. Teenagers don't take their development as teenagers into account when they go to do stuff. That's not really how it works. Teenagers have a tendency to think that they're capable of all the things adults are capable of just because they have the motor functions to be able to do it. And it's really not, that's also not how it works. But he's not likely to look at Kratos accompanying him as being necessarily a good thing. He's probably looking at Odin and saying, like, that's pretty damn cool that he trusted me and Thrud to go to Helheim to find the mask. Are you kidding me? He trusted me to go with Thor? He trusts me with all these different people? He doesn't, I mean, I don't know for sure because I can't ask Atreus about it, but that would be my thought about it. What do you think Kratos' best play in this situation? I think I just answered that. All right.
Okay. Guess it's time to face it. No running away this time. Almost home. It's gonna be fine. Everything's fine.
No, it's not. Okay. You don't need to always say to yourself, everything's going to be fine. Truly, friends, I really can't emphasize this enough. Acknowledging the reality of a situation is so much more important than trying to talk yourself into some bullshit. It's not fine. This is a real shit sandwich right now. And being real about that and owning up to it and just acknowledging, man, this really sucks, is going to allow everybody involved to just acknowledge the reality of the situation and then problem solve their way through it. you don't have to always talk yourself up and be overly positive about things. Sometimes it's okay to just be like, yep, okay, this is not going to go great. This is going to be scary. It's going to be nerve-wracking. I don't know how my dad's going to respond. What can I control? I can control what I tell him. I can control how I tell him. I can control the fact that I'm going back to him. He's going to be mad. If he is mad, I'm going to let him be mad. I'm going to hear what he has to say, and we're going to make this work. But it's probably not going to be very fun. It's going to suck. Let's do it anyways. It's exactly right. It's a great way to handle these types of situations. It's okay to try to empower yourself a bit, but you don't need to joke. You don't need to, like, bullshit yourself when you're about to go into adversity. Like, this is going to be hard is an okay thing to say. It's not going to be fine. It'll be fine if you do the work.
No.
It's you! Wait, it's you!
Yikes.
Where's Father? Trying to find a way to you. Do you mind? We're being attacked right now.
Atreus, watch out! This won't stop until I close that door. Atreus, help keep them off me.
Oh my goodness. Oh, that's Brock. What am I doing? Wow, they can actually get to Brock and Cinders too. That's not good. That's actually really not good. That's really not good because you know who hasn't been able to get here so far? Odin. Oh shit. You brilliant MFer, man.
I need more power. Atreus, come help me with the spell. I'll show you how.
Tell me when.
Lassa.
Lassa. Rifa. Lassa. Rifa.
Atreus!
Kratos. There we go. What up, Dad?
Off your back. Help Freya. I will draw them to me.
Hell yeah, let's go. Oh, yeah. Holy shit. God, you just feel so much more powerful as Kratos. It's ridiculous. Yeah, skewer time, baby. Oh, man. Yeah. 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 Blow up. I love that. And Tracy's like, wait a minute. What? What the hell is this shit?
Is it over?
No thanks to you.
Where is Atreus?
Atreus. Has the runaway returned and brought all this with him?
Okay, so I understand why Tyr wasn't fighting. Tyr doesn't want to be violent. That's consistent. That's not what I'm worried about. So the runaway has returned and brought all this stuff with him. Is a real not smart thing to say there. And it is absolutely not the kind of thing you want to say if you're trying to figure out how to maintain peace. That is completely devoid of empathy. That is completely devoid of empathy. In fact, that goes so far in my mind as to go to a space of, like, in some way trying to, like, wedge something between Kratos and Atreus. Like, what a weird thing to plant in his mind. Like, oh, all this shit happened because your son's a douche, is essentially what he said there. Now, Kratos has the mental fortitude to let that rub off his back, but that's a very odd thing to say there. Instead of being like, oh, shit, he's back. The kid who made the effort to free me and get me out of jail is back. Holy shit, we've all been worried sick about him. No. Very odd there. Very, very odd. Now, I want to give a quick heads up here. I am not reading chat right now because I see chat moving pretty fast. And usually when chat moves fast while I'm talking about certain plot points, I try not to acknowledge it because it makes me wonder. Do not spoil or imply anything that could potentially be a spoiler. I know that there are some things that are happening real fast right now. I really can't emphasize enough. I want zero implications of anything that could potentially be a spoiler. And so I'm actively kind of avoiding chat right now because there's a lot of shit going on. But I just want to give a warning. Do not in any way, shape, or form insinuate anything about what's happening, especially if you know what's going on.
God, just hold still.
I told you I'm fine.
Oh, you're bleeding.
Quit your blubbering. What do I call you?
Oh. Yeah, dude, go back in there, bud.
Atreus. What has happened?
Dude, holy crap. That's the greatest thing he could have said. That is the greatest question he could have asked there. Oh my God. That really got me. That is, I couldn't have drawn that up better. I really couldn't have. And the reason that was the best question that he could have asked there is it's related to what I was talking about back with Odin. Okay. Kratos's entire, like, the perception that Atreus has had of Kratos up until this point has been that he does not facilitate my autonomy. He only thinks of me as his son, and that's it. He doesn't give me any space to figure myself out. He doesn't give me any space to think things through. Everything is follow my dad. Everything is about who I am to my dad. It's not who I am. It's not who I am and then my dad figures it out and is curious about it. When Atreus shows up like that, with his tail between his legs, essentially, and the first thing that Kratos says to him is, "What do I call you?" That is a stunning acknowledgement of the fact that part of what Atreus was doing was going off to figure himself out. I mean, like, that is, it's, you control the narrative now, man. You tell me what I call you. And he said it in as soft of a way as Kratos could deliver that line. And it gives Atreus, I mean, man, it makes me even emotional. It gives Atreus a choice. It gives Atreus a choice in that moment to engage with what feels like me. And so he sees his dad and he's like, I'm Atreus. And it's why he runs to his dad when he asks that question. Runs to his dad and gives him a hug, doesn't even answer it. Part of it, I think, is because he's like, I don't really know, because this has all been really messed up. But I really feel like Atreus right now when I see you. And he runs to him and he hugs him, and Atreus reciprocates the hug. That's exactly the kind of stability he needs. I'm safe to return to, man. Odin might tell you that Asgard is safe, and I realize Kratos doesn't know that Odin said this, but Asgard might have felt safe, but at the end of the day, I'm your guy, man. I'm here. And I'm here to embrace you for who you are. You tell me to call you Loki. Okay, man. It's awesome. It's really awesome. Woo! It's rare. I haven't gotten choked up in games very often. I mean, that'll get you, man. That's beautifully done. Seriously, it's like the greatest thing that he could have said there. The greatest thing. An immediate acknowledgement of his autonomy. Not where have you been? Not what were you doing? None of that. It's what do I call you? And in some ways, it actually creates a sense that Kratos has been thinking about it since he left, which is cool too. All right. Wow.
It's all my fault. The Hellwalkers, they're everywhere. Everywhere.
That is not your fault.
Yes, it is. There was a wolf in hell. He was in chains and I set him free. I thought that if...
Garm? Great bleeding fuck, lad. You freed Garm?
Garm? Who freed Garm? That's madness. Surely not you, young one.
If the Hound of Hell is loose, he'll chew through the fabric of the realms. Hellwalkers are just the beginning. What were you thinking?
Aye, this is a fuck-up of not insignificant proportions.
What?
No! 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 Oh my God! God! Oh! 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 It hurts! Oh my God! It hurts! It hurts so bad! Oh my God! Okay. All right. First, to empathize with Tyr, Freya, and Mimir. Okay, we're going to do it. We're going to do it because this is what you have to do, okay? I get it. They know what it means to have Garm out. Okay, so their panic about that, I completely get it. I completely get it. They get to be scared. It's terrifying that Garm is on the loose, man. This is going to be literally a nightmare. Okay? Like, literally a nightmare. So they can be scared. Like, the reality of the situation is this is FUBAR. But they have no context. They have no context. And you know what's the worst part about this? The worst part about this is because their little amygdalas are firing right now, they're not actually sitting down and thinking about the fact that Atreus was just with Odin. And if Odin is the big scary guy that you all know him to be, the conclusion that you would hope that they would draw is, I bet Atreus let Garm loose because that's what Odin wanted. Because this little kid, basically, went to master manipulator extraordinaire God, who rules the freaking realms with an iron fist. Of course Garm is loose. And Atreus was a pawn in that scheme. That's what we need to get. The anger needs to be like, what the fuck did Odin make you do? That's where you want to go with that. What did Odin make you do? And Kratos worked his ass off there to try to reassure Atreus. It's possible because Kratos did it. Kratos literally sat there and was like, it's not your fault. And Atreus is like, yeah, it is, man. I let Garm loose. And Kratos is prepared to listen and be like, well, how did it happen? What's up? And then everybody comes flying in. What the fuck did you do? And all that's going to do is reinforce exactly what Odin is wanting to happen, which is for Atreus to be shamed when he screws up. Because what is Atreus going to access now? Atreus has more diverse representation of what happens when he messes up now. You can use diverse representation for nefarious reasons sometimes. And in this way, Odin did, okay? So Odin now has planted a seed that Atreus can mess up and it's okay. You can have a conversation about it and you're always welcome here. He immediately comes back to Brock and Sindri's place and the message he gets from Tyr, Freya, and Mimir, 3 out of 4, is, oh, you done fucked up now, bud. How could you? This is irreparable apocalypse Ragnarok bringing bullshit here. You idiot, is how he's going to hear that. He's already so steeped in his shame about what he did. This is the time where everybody has to come up around him and be like, it's all right, bud. Let's figure out how to come up with a plan. It's on Odin. The 5 of us are back together. We're a super powerful unit. We're going to go figure it out. Let's go get Garm. I get it, man. They are steeped in their emotions of what it means to hear that Garm is gone. But to direct this to Atreus is exactly what you would want from Odin. And this is why it's so frustrating. When Atreus is gone, everybody is so focused on Atreus and getting him back that nobody's thinking about the fact that while Atreus is gone, he is getting manipulated by Odin. So what does this mean? Odin needs to be in our consciousness at all times. He has to be here. And he's not. And so they're screwing this up. And it's killing me. Because this is exactly what Odin needs Atreus to walk back into. It creates the contrast that he was most afraid of. Or what he was most wanting. And that it's gonna, oh man, god damn it.
Drive you to such mischief. Is this Loki's doing?
Enough. Leave him.
Yeah.
Atreus has made a mistake. One that we will fix together.
Now, if you don't mind, I'd rather stay here. I've had my fill of visits to Helheim.
One problem. How much do I have a way back to Elon?
Perhaps the squirrel does.
I need to speak with you at once. At once, I say.
Let's go, Kratos. Let's freaking go, bud.
Most urgency.
All right, what's up, Redditosker?
Gentlemen, I apologize for my brusque tone, but whatever has lately transpired in Helheim is completely unacceptable. I must insist you remedy the situation without further delay.
Okay, we will do
implore
that.
you, return to Helheim post-haste and undo whatever it is you've done.
The pacing of this game is so good.
Never do it again.
Okay, you got it, bud. Sorry. We'll make it right. All right. Actually, hold on.
And if you must imperil the fabric of reality in the future, please do the courtesy of notifying me.
That's what I'm... No? How about this? Oh, you can't chuck your
In
spear at it.
advance, if at all possible.
right, working on it. We're out of here.
And do try not to fuck up.
Okay.
Aren't you gonna, you know, reprimand me?
No. I am relieved. You are safe.
Okay. Wow. Maybe I should run away more often.
Atreus.
Kidding. Sorry. So where'd the new spear come from?
Dude, you just got you just got back, bud. Chill on the jokes for a second, okay? Okay. However, there is actually a real tidbit buried in here. There's a real tidbit buried in here. We're gonna move past the joke for a second here. When we've talked about behavioral reinforcement, particularly early on in this series, if you want to know what reinforcement mechanisms look like and how they play out, this is a great example of it. So there are times where children, teenagers, adults will push really hard into certain boundaries or past certain boundaries because of the response they get. And what Atreus is actually commenting on here, I think, is pretty important, which is that, oh, I only get the softer, more emotionally vulnerable side of my dad when I do something profound to freak him out. Which is essentially, I have to push my dad to a point of relief when I return in order to get that from him. And if that's what's desirable from Kratos, which is understandable from a child to a parent, and you learn that that's how you get it, you'll keep doing that stuff. So even though he says that in a joking way, it is a real lesson in behavioral reinforcement, because what Kratos can learn from that, particularly if Atreus could articulate it, is, Dad, this is the side of you I need to see more of. I don't want to have to run away in order to get this from you. Your concern about me in this kind of sphere, as opposed to the, macho man, I got this, I'll protect you, that doesn't help. When you tell me that you're relieved that I'm safe, when you tell me that I matter, when you give me the benefit of the doubt, when you tell me you want to solve problems with me, that makes me feel connected with you, dude. So please do that without me running away. Now, I wouldn't necessarily expect Atreus to say that, but that's the way you have to look at it if you're a parent. So even though that was kind of a joke, it's not. And if you're not careful as a parent or as an adult in other relationships, you can cultivate undesirable behavior by the fact that you give energy in certain spaces. So, word to the wise here. To Hellhound, Garm has been unleashed upon the realms. Atreus and I must find the creature and stop it. My son's mistake weigh heavily on him. I wish it were not so, but in this regard, he is like his father. Yep, good empathy.
Brock made it. From Dropnir.
What's that?
A ring.
But what's its story?
I do not know. You were not there to ask. I love how self-reflective that is. I love that because he is totally self-deprecating right there, while he's also like taking a shot. Like, I didn't ask the question. I don't give a shit. You tell me that ring turned into a badass Spartan spear. It's good enough for me, bud. You want to ask questions? Why don't you make sure your ass is here to ask them? That's awesome. That's so good. Anonymous, thanks for gifting that sub to Nova. Oh my god. Oh god, this game's so good. Truly, this game is fantastic. I can't say that enough. Also, thanks for being here, friends. If you're here on YouTube and you're enjoying my analysis, thank you so much. Make sure you leave a like. Make sure you leave a comment. I'm really grateful for your engagement. I love doing these, and I'm glad that you all seem to love that I do this too. So, big shout out to all of you, whether you're here live on Twitch or whether you're watching these VODs on YouTube. You rock. Oh shit! Atreus!
He's right here!
He's
Go!
probably just scared. He was chained up for a really long time. You can't hurt him. okay?
Oh, Odin has ravens here too, man.
Most dangerous.
I know.
Oh. Yeah.
Come on, we gotta get across before he opens up more realm fish.
Nope. Nope. Killing the ravens more important, bud. All right. Hey, Atreus, look what I can do. I can whiff on the big ass thing. There we go.
Oh, wind powers? Cool.
Hell yeah, bro. Dude, this is why you hang out with Daddy. His Daddy gets cool. Daddy gets cool stuff to mess with. Uncles are lame. Daddy? Daddy's where it's at.
Did Odin ask you to free that creature?
What? No. Why?
Are you not working with him?
It's not what you think.
Whatever he promised, he cannot be trusted.
I don't. But he has something I need. It's hard to explain.
Yeah, I know. All of our powers going into our gross motor and fine motor coordination holding ourselves on this wall, but I'd love an explanation of that. By the way, I don't think Kratos is doing this consciously, but I do want to give him a little bit of credit here. The more nonchalant he can talk about Atreus going to talk to Odin, the better. If Kratos continues to make a big deal out of the fact that he went to go hang out with Odin, it's going to create an aversion from Atreus. So the fact that he's bringing this up and just being like, oh, did Odin tell you to do that? It's a great way to do it. Because what it does is it disarms Atreus and it gets him to just kind of state facts and talk about what happened, rather than him getting all emotional about what is my dad upset about. So there's again, I don't think Kratos is doing that consciously, but it's a very effective way for him to engage with Atreus here. You know? All right, so what kind of beer did you guys drink at the party? That's the real life example of this. Oh, all right. So who got drunk? What was it like? Do you like the vodka or no? A lot easier to get information out of teenagers when you go in that direction. You bitch. Question is,
We gotta get up there. This ice is in the way.
I will handle it.
I see that, Atreus. Oh, I get it. Both at once.
Still didn't work.
I see that.
Another perspective, maybe. Something you missed?
Oh, you mean like up there? Why don't you just say, I see one up here? That was a lot easier to climb than I thought it was going to be. All right. Let's see what this is.
The wind from your wings.
The wind from your wings chills my bones and fills my sails. The words appear to spite the eagle of this realm in one moment, then express devotion in the next. Interesting. Oh, look at that. Let's go. Oh, shit. What's up? So badass. Bitch. 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 Okay.
Your work for Odin. You said it is hard to explain. Why?
I just need you to trust me. I know I have no right to ask. But can you anyway?
What does he have that you need? Why can you not tell me?
It's complicated. What about you? Why do you have a new weapon? I thought you didn't want war.
I do not. But
It's complicated?
Guys. Okay. This is information. This is a beautiful example of why their relationship leads to the shit that happens in this game. Again, this is not. I don't pin this on Kratos in a malicious or nefarious way. I put this on Kratos because it's ultimately it is his responsibility to facilitate a difference in these interactions. This is what it looks like when you get so wrapped up in your own bullshit that you don't communicate clearly. It would be so easy for Atreus to say, look, there's this mask that's like all-knowing and Odin wants it and I'm trying to get it so that X thing happens. And for Kratos to say, look, I went and I made the spear because when you went to Asgard, I freaked out. I wanted to come get you. The problem with what's happening is that each of them is making an assumption about how the other one will hear that message instead of giving them the autonomy of reacting to it in a nuanced and mature way because of what's happened since they left. And that's a real bummer. Because it's not as complicated as they think it is. They're wrapped up in their worries and their assumptions and their anxiety and their autonomy in some very roundabout way that they're preventing each other from having the information they need in order to come together and understand this situation more fully. So, I mean, the lesson here really is don't be afraid of clear and direct communication and give people the ability or at least the space to respond to information that is necessary for them to have in a given situation rather than making the decision of how they're going to hear it for them, because it's going to prevent you from having better interactions and deeper connections with the people around you. Like, you could do this by speaking plain. It's really not that hard. And so when they get into this idea of, like, it's complicated, sure, is that a shared experience? Yes, but it's a shared experience that separates them. It's helpful to know the motives here. Especially since we have a problem to solve. Now, it was a great way for Atreus to basically hold Kratos accountable to some hypocrisy here. But do we really need to be, like, pushing at each other here? No, we need to work together. Our relationship's pretty tenuous given what's just gone down in the last few episodes. Also, special shout out to those of you that stuck through the raid. Thank you for doing that. Speaking of raids, Lynn, thank you for the raid.
Everyone keeps secrets. Sometimes it's the only way to protect the ones we love. And don't worry about Odin. I'm not going back there.
That is good to hear.
So strongly disagree with that narrative. So strongly.
Realm tear. Garm's been busy. I think I understand how Freya closed one. Keep the enemies away if you can.
I can.
Let me know when you're ready.
I can. I love that. This isn't about if, buddy.
Walkers up there. We find Garm.
Go. What up? Welcome to the Thunderdome. That's so cool. Yeah! What up, homies? There's more of you. These are where it's at. Get off my boy.
I bet that wasn't the only one out there. We'll have to keep an eye out for more. Thanks for coming back with me. You didn't have to.
I am your father. I will always help, as long as I am able.
Well, that's good to hear too.
Tell me, what were you doing in Asgard?
I was translating things for Odin. There's this mask he found and a magical rift that's connected to it. It's all sort of...
complicated.
Yeah, but I met people my age there. Made friends. I think we're still friends.
You cannot trust those loyal to Odin.
It's not always bad to trust people.
It compromises your judgment.
Maybe, but I'm tired of feeling alone.
Atreus,
Let's just figure out how this gate works, okay?
Oh, let your dad be vulnerable there, dude. Man, we got a lot there. Like the whole like trusting people clouds your judgment. You got to be careful there. I mean, trust is important. But trust is not the only means of connection. And I'm going to try not to make this conversation too complicated. But one thing that gets overlooked with lying a lot is that lying can actually be incredibly connective. See, we often think that like the best way to be connected to people is to have full truth, to be honest with them. But man, not a lot of people are actually equipped well to handle the truth, particularly if it's difficult to hear. And so a lot of us will err on the side of connection. And sometimes that means lying by omission. Sometimes that means telling a story. Sometimes that means avoiding the truth entirely. It means avoiding things that we think are going to produce shame in ourselves and in others. So trust can cloud people's judgment. And also it's hard to really get a gauge on when you can trust and when you cannot. So I think the tricky thing here is we often don't issue nuance into discussions of honesty. Usually what happens is like if a person like lies to you once or something like that, people will be like, that's a liar. Make value attributions about it. And we have to be careful about that because not everything Odin says is a lie. And that's actually a very important point because if everything that Odin said was a lie, nobody would trust him. You would know that everything he was saying was a lie. The issue is that Odin does tell the truth sometimes, and he intermittently picks and chooses the times when he lies and when he tells the truth. And the difference between Odin and any of us is just that Odin's really good at picking the right spots to control a situation. A lot of us really suck at when we pick the spots because we pick them emotionally and we don't really see them in context and we don't know our audience. So when people lie, it's important to try to assess for the context of why a person lied. If you have the desire to lie, ask yourself why. Are you lying because you're making an assumption about what somebody's response is going to be about something? Are you lying because of your own insecurity about something? Are you lying because it's legitimately in the best interest of you and the people involved? Are you lying because now's not the time, but you intend to tell the truth later? Understanding the reasons why people lie can give you more insight into your dynamic with them and can give you more insight into the context that you're embedded in. And maybe that means that you make a different decision. I'm not advocating for lying, but I'm also not trying to be unrealistic about lying. People lie all the time, and there is real utility to lying sometimes. And when we don't acknowledge the nuance within that conversation about lying and we go into liar or that person tells the truth and they're super trustworthy all the time, we lose out on the fact that like people who are generally trustworthy can lie and people who tend to lie can also tell the truth. And it depends on how you use it and where it goes and what kind of damage it can cause and your ability to read the environment and the people within it. So it's a very interesting perspective that Kratos brings here on talking about the truth, and everybody asks for it. Everybody talks about how they want it, but there are so many people that when they hear the truth, they freak out because they're not actually prepared for it. I tend to say to people, you probably heard me say this in other playthroughs, is don't ever ask a question you're not prepared to hear a truthful answer to. And I think if more people operated on that, we'd get a little bit more comfortable with the idea of being honest with people when they ask us questions. But ultimately, we are always withholding certain information. We're always trying to curate a certain thing. We're always trying to save face because at the end of the day, humans want to connect. They want to know that they are safe. And one of the ways that humans have built safety over hundreds of thousands of years is by being involved in groups and belonging. And if telling the truth means that you could potentially be cast out of the group, or maybe there's data to suggest that that will happen, you're going to lie because you'll survive. If it means that your connection is more important. So there's more reasons why people lie rather than them just being shitty people. Sometimes they're trying to survive their environment, or at the very least their perception of the environment. And we can get good insight into people when we actually open up those conversations with nuance. Grip of Healing Harmony. Axe hits restore health, but incoming damage is increased. I want strength. Wrath. Slash forward 3 waves of light that deal increased damage against enemies affected with Sonic. I don't want to do that either. Yeah, alright, we're good. Just want to check the map real quick. Oh, so this is like, we got quite a bit to do here, it looks like. What's up, Moo Hoodles? Hello, friends. Those of you that are coming along with Moo Hoodles, welcome in. I am DrMick. I'm a licensed couple and family therapist. I have a PhD in human development. This is Game Sessions with a Therapist. We are currently playing God of War Ragnarök, and I am analyzing the game using my therapist brain, which a lot of people seem to like. I just ask that if you're coming in here, please do not spoil or backseat, because this is a blind run of the game. I know that a lot of people have played it and really love it. If you're not sure whether I've done something, please don't ask about it. You can ask things like, what have we done? But please don't ask if I've gotten to certain parts yet. Moo Hoodles, thank you so much for bringing people my way. I appreciate you immensely. I hope you had a wonderful stream. And if you've not met me before, I encourage you to hang out. Check out my YouTube channel and all that fun stuff, because there's all sorts of playthroughs. And if you like the idea of a psychologist analyzing stuff using a medium that we all can connect with, I'm your guy. That's awesome, Moo. I'm glad. It makes a huge difference.
The gate's blocked when the gate is up.
So it seems, Atreus. So it seems, big guy. But I can't turn this if the gate is open. So Atreus, you walk through there, and then you stand there, and you hold the gate up. I already know what's gonna happen.
What are you thinking?
Maybe we can use my new arrows. They can chain elements.
Okay.
Ow!
It even gives me some little rings to shoot so that I do it properly. I'm gonna need that to
Need more than
unfreeze.
one sigil.
Yeah, we are. Just hold on, Atreus.
Dead. Another to the left.
Your boy, you got him, boy. I got loot. Won't you walk away from me?
Break its guard.
Yeah. Ugh.
There he is. See that? He's tearing this whole realm apart. Watch your right.
Yeah.
Come on. You gotta stop him. This is all my fault.
Atreus, man, you gotta stop personalizing this stuff so heavily. It's not all your fault.
Pillar here that your spear could probably fit. But we need a better angle.
See, this is where, okay, like I realize that we're in the middle of battle and stuff, but this is one of those moments where when you see that Atreus is internalizing this in this way, it's a perfect opportunity to say to him, hey, dude, I get it. It feels like it's totally your fault. That's not really how things work. This is why we were afraid of you going to Asgard and seeing Odin. It's not because I don't believe in you. The reason that I'm afraid of this is because there is stuff that we knew was going to go down that was going to be orchestrated by Odin because he's really good and he has all of us messed up. And any of us being isolated and alone in the context of Odin is exactly what he wants. So this isn't your fault. You were not given full information about what to expect. Odin could have so easily told Atreus, hey, by the way, Garm's in there, don't let him out. But he didn't. There's a reason for that. Atreus got manipulated without a bunch of information, and he made bad decisions based on incomplete information, but it's not entirely his fault. If you're a person that over-personalizes things because you think that that's how you gain control of a certain situation, you really got to rethink how you gain control of a certain situation, because sometimes controlling the narrative in that way is more destructive than anything else. It has Atreus making a value attribution about himself instead of properly evaluating the situation. See ya. Like, of course Atreus let him out. Odin knew that was gonna happen, man. Only I throw the spears around here, boy. Love that you can just like chuck these on the line. Awesome. Still? What else do I gotta deal with? There we
All right,
go.
let's keep moving.
What difficulty are you playing? The hardest one. Harder than anybody's ever played. Nah, I'm playing on the easiest one. I don't really care about the difficulty. I'm playing the game to analyze the story, and I don't want to get too gummed up with combat. You think Odin wanted Atreus to mess up and free Garm? Yes! Are you kidding me? Of course he did. Of course he did. The only person that's going to convince me otherwise is Odin. Of course Odin wanted Atreus to screw that up. Atreus sees an animal that's hurting and trapped, he's going to let him free. And again, I point out that until this point, nobody's been able to make it to Brock and Sindri's. You have Garm go ripping shit up, and all of a sudden, you can pass through portals and get to Brock and Sindri's. You can go between the realms. All of a sudden, Odin potentially has free reign. Of course he wanted him to do that. You kidding? He knows that it'll piss everybody off, gives him access to the realms. Easy peasy. Easy peasy. Of course he did. Because if he didn't want him to do it, what he would have done is he would have said to Atreus, by the way, Atreus, when you go to Helheim with Thrud, you might come across Garm. Garm is chained up. That's going to freak you out. You're going to want to release Garm. Don't release Garm. That's dangerous. That's real dangerous. Do you know why it's dangerous, Atreus? Because he can rip holes between realms, and that's pretty scary, and that can bring about Armageddon. We don't want that to happen. Odin doesn't get a pass on being a dummy there. Garm, if this is that big of a deal, and you know that Mr. Animal Lover is going to come across Garm, you warn him. The fact that he didn't warn him, 100%, this is what he expected to happen. 100%. No doubt. No doubt. Is that a Vegas Golden Knights shirt? You bet it is.
Atreus, I do not want you to feel alone. But your decision to go to Asgard helped me understand.
Odin doesn't want Ragnarok. I know I can't trust him, but I needed his help. I can't let Ragnarok happen either.
Okay. One, I love Kratos here. Love it. That's how you do it, right there. I don't want to feel alone. Help me understand. My God, if you haven't all heard me say that how many times throughout this playthrough, that the best way you can gauge your teenagers with curiosity, that is Kratos doing what he needs to do. That is absolutely Kratos doing what he needs to do. That is a perfect example of how, as a parent, you can engage curiosity on something that is obviously vulnerable and loaded with a bunch of information. If you're a teenager and you're watching this, please, for the love of God, reward your parents' curiosity. Because your parents are going to stop asking questions if you don't ask, or if you don't answer them. Like, if you want your parents to be engaged and curious and understand you, you gotta give them something. You gotta reward the fact that they're actually doing that. Atreus right now, unfortunately, is not really doing that. The elephant in the room here is that what Atreus is not saying to Kratos is, I don't want you to die. I saw a prophecy that you die. I know what happens, and I'm trying to prevent you from dying. That opens up the conversation that we need the two of them to have. And unfortunately, because Atreus is so worried about saying that to his dad, because he's worried about whatever implication there is in him saying that, and potentially worried about his father being angry that he's trying to intercept a prophecy, or perhaps is worried that his father knows that and has already accepted the fact that he has to die and does not, and Atreus doesn't want to accept the reality of that. Now, unfortunately, we're in a position where he's withholding information that would really be a key to the two of them connecting here. So we also have to look at this as going both ways. If you're a parent, be curious like that. If you're a teenager, you gotta give a little when your parents try to engage with you out of curiosity. And you can be flexible too in how you answer questions and giving them some information. Because if you don't do that, they're not gonna ask. And then you don't get to sit there and go, well, you don't care about me. Yeah, they do. You just won't answer their questions. I don't talk to the teens very often, but I see you teenagers, and I appreciate you watching my content if you watch it. Why can I not climb this wall? Oh, okay.
I would have helped you.
No. Wait, he's right here.
Oh! God, we're so close.
Okay, okay. It's okay, boy. It's all right. Just calm. Calm. We just wanna.
Oh, what up, homie?
Right side.
Wrong weapon. All right, why don't we just use that knife from now on? Oh, I thought I got it. Give me that. Ah!
Come on, you can squeeze through here.
Why don't you go ahead and finish what you were gonna say there, buddy? Tell me.
If Odin truly wishes to avoid Ragnarok, then we are in agreement.
Yeah? Then what's that spear for?
To protect you.
Don't you have other weapons for that?
I find, okay, so this is multiple times in this episode that we have seen Atreus basically crack a joke when his father attempted to be vulnerable. And I get it. I'm not getting on Atreus for this. Like, I understand it, but I do think that, like, it says something about the discomfort that Atreus has when his father actually softens. And if you're Kratos here, I think this is part of your struggle. Is you try to be vulnerable with your son, and then he gets uncomfortable and he cracks a joke, and Kratos is terrible with jokes. So it doesn't land very well. So it is in some effect a punishment. I don't think it's an intentional punishment on Atreus' part, but it's a punishment. So they really struggle at being direct with each other, particularly in vulnerable instances. And I think it's in part just a product of the fact that Atreus isn't used to it. So when his father gets softer and vulnerable, he's kind of like, oh, I don't know what to do with my hands. And then he makes a joke because he's uncomfortable. It is what it is. That's hard for Kratos, though, man, because then you're like, dude, I'm trying, and you keep cracking jokes. Like, yeah, I wanted to get a spear because this is a serious business. You're messing around with Odin, dude. I didn't go make a spear out of Draupnir because I thought it would be fun. I'm a pretty minimalist dude. I'm not a materialistic guy. So, like, help me out here, bud. Yeah, relationships and conversations they're bi-directional. You have Atreus at a developmental disadvantage in the sense that he's a teenager, but it still stands true that it goes in two directions. Whether you like it or not, when you're engaging in an interaction with another human, you are a mechanism of reinforcement no matter what. So is that other person. You are consistently throwing reinforcement mechanisms at each other. And the more attentive we can be to those things, the more socially adept we can be, the better we can read the room, the more we can have conversations go in a direction that they need to go. If you stop thinking about the way you show up in your interactions as being a reinforcement mechanism, then you start having stuff like this happen. And then it just makes things slower and bumpier, and it's not fun.
What are these guys doing here?
They are dead.
What are they doing here? They're dead, dude. We're in hell. What do you think they're doing here? Oh, Atreus' lunch joke was fantastic. That was truly excellent. But what up, dude?
I hate fighting these guys when they're alive.
Yeah, well now they're dead. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Oh boy. Atreus, turn into a dog for me, bud. Oh yeah, let's just wreck this guy's shit. Are you kidding me? Oh yeah. Oh, this guy had no chance. Be deader.
So, if you're not preparing for Ragnarok, then seriously, why the spear? I shared. It's your turn.
We are not the same. I am the parent.
No. 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 God. He takes like 5 steps forward and then he takes one back. No, you don't. So Kratos continues to do this, man. He cannot get it out of his head that, yes, dude, yes, he's your son and that matters to you. That's a big deal. But my God, if the hardest thing for parents to get themselves away from is their identity as a parent and into their identity as being a peer when their kids become adults. Like, yes, you reared him, you raised him, you had expectations, you were excited about what he was capable of, and you have seen fit to protect them and make sure that they live a life that was better than yours. Every single parent wants to do that. And if you continue to assert that as being the primary dominating role between you and your children as they grow up, it starts to create a rift, because the older Atreus gets, the more tired he's going to be of hearing, I'm your dad. I get certain privileges because I'm your father. Like, at some point, it's like, man, all that does is make a wall. Because now you get to withhold information after you ask me to be vulnerable. That doesn't seem particularly fair. And from a relational standpoint, it's not. Vulnerability and connection hinges on the reciprocity of disclosure. And if you hide behind, I'm the parent, it's different. When your kid is getting to a point where they can understand some of the complexities of what it is to be a human and an adult, you're going to have a problem. So, Kratos, you can't keep asserting I'm your father and you're my son every time you don't want to disclose something, because now we're dodging a conversation that could truly bring them together if they would just talk about the fact that neither one of them wants Kratos to die. So talk about it. Oh, this is clever. Okay. So I think what we have to do here is go... Then...
I think my arrows will stick to the wood up there.
Yeah, Atreus, I got it, buddy.
Let's go.
All right. Why is there a coffin in Helheim? That seems weird. Only because I'm slightly paranoid.
We're close. Promise me you won't kill him, okay?
I make no promises, but I will try not to kill the beast.
Good. Good. Love that. Love that. Good honesty, man. That's how you build trust. That's how you build trust. I guess you really can take it with you. You coming, Atreus? Nice of you to join me, big dog. God, my muscle memory wants me to put the blades away by hitting down on the pad, and it's not really how it works anymore. It's down here. Some hack silver chilling in the cave, huh? The Raiders could use Kratos. Look at the spiral he puts on that spear. Yeah. Give me Jimmy G out of war. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? For those watching this on the VOD years later, Jimmy G just got signed as the Raiders quarterback, and I'm a big Raiders fan. We'll see how that works out. Form a flurry of stabs with drop near, which embed spears into the enemy. That sounds cool. Thrust of 1,000 soldiers. Oh. Oh, yeah. That. Thrust of 1,000 soldiers? You kidding me? Tame the beast. Series of blades, whips, scorches nearby enemies. Tame the beast. It's my new one here. Boon of Wrath. Spartan Rage. Wrath's activation. Shockwave consumes status. Don't care. You cold?
What is your plan?
I'm sort of making it up as I go. But you're not talking about Garm.
You cannot outsmart Odin.
It's worked so far.
Has it?
Man, be careful with challenging him, but he's not. You're not wrong. I mean, Kratos is correct here. Oh boy. Oh God, he's so cool. Garm is on a tear, man.
Now what?
I'm gonna try to tame it.
Tame it?
Sure. I've tamed wolves before.
Yeah, it's just like any other dog. I tamed a Chihuahua before, and if I can do a Chihuahua, I can do Garm. Anybody who owns a Chihuahua knows that that's true. Hey chat, how do you catch a unique wolf named Garm? Unique up on him. How do you catch a tame Garm? tame way. You sneak up on him.
Okay, I'll distract Garm. You freeze his chains with your axe so he can't run and latch him onto something.
No, too dangerous.
It's a good plan. Let's move.
God, Jesus Christ. Okay. Oh boy. Okay. Yeah, sure. Cool. Uh-huh. Yeah, just hit him with the old Sheen-Ruski, huh? Oh my god. Yep. Yeah, uh-huh. Oh. It's a good plan. Go. That's what we're gonna start doing when I'm just like impulsive about shit. You alright, big dog?
Are you okay? We almost...
Your transformation. Did Odin teach you to control it?
No.
We will not rely on what he taught you. Next time, we do it my way.
Yes, sir.
I mean, I get it, but man, you gotta be careful here, Kratos. Like, it plays into the hand. Next time we do it my way, you don't get to be involved in this. Like, what you do right here is you say, Atreus, I love that you have ideas. It's awesome. You're thinking through things. Very cool. I see what you were trying to accomplish there. We've got to work together, bud. You want us to have trust in each other? We have to work together here. We can't just say it's a good plan and run into it. I'm not going to do that. You're not going to do it. We're going to work together. But they keep doing this pissing contest where Atreus is like, we're going to do it my way, and that's how it's going to be, and it's going to work. And then Kratos is like, no, we're going to do it my way. And like, it's not facilitating something meaningful between the two of them. Like, have a conversation about the fact that you both have ideas about how to accomplish this and say, let's take a second and analyze this together. It'll be meaningful for both of them. It's driving me nuts that they keep doing this back and forth. Now, if you have a plan, Kratos, we should probably tell your son what it is, huh? Because if you run into this impulsively like your son, what are you actually teaching? No, you can't. No, you can't cross that. Can't cross that gap.
Why didn't that work? You didn't mess up on purpose, did you?
Now, who does not trust?
Sorry, that wasn't fair. I thought it would work.
Patience. We will find a way.
Oh, man. Dude, this episode, there's just so much. I don't think I've ever paused a game as much as I've paused this one. I could have probably beat this game in like, what, 20 hours if I wasn't paused? Okay, that's besides the point. That is really... that's a pretty powerful statement. That's a really powerful statement. And if I was Kratos, aside from being hurt by that statement, that would scare me. Because that's really Odin kind of worming his way in there and Atreus getting some bad info. Like the idea that Kratos would actively sabotage Atreus's idea. Oh, baby, that is a hell of a step back in terms of thinking about your relationship with your father there. I mean, really, think about that. Think of how heavy that actually is. Kratos has gone to hell and back to try to save his son and to be on the same page, and he is very actively telling his son that he wants to work with him and follow him and understand him. And Atreus pulls that out of the hat. Ugh. So if you're I mean, one, if you can depersonalize it as Kratos, you try your best to depersonalize that. That's a pretty big gut punch. But then you realize, like, oh man, Atreus is really under somebody's thumb. But what does that mean? The question you have to ask there, if you're Kratos, the difference is you can't get mad about it and just continually to say Odin's an idiot. You can't do that. What you have to do here, if you're Kratos, is say, wait a second. If Odin was able to wiggle his way into my son's mind, but I have not been able to do it, what did Odin potentially do differently from what I do in order to engage with my son? Like, you have to actually go into a space of trying to figure out a way to admire Odin's work with your son, because he trusts Odin, even though he says he doesn't. He's bought into some of the stuff that Odin's tried to cultivate here, and there's a reason for that. We got to see it because we got to play as Atreus, but Kratos didn't, and he would do well to wonder what that is and try to potentially modify his behavior as a result. I do give him credit for saying now he does not trust, and I give Atreus credit for saying, okay, that wasn't fair. But it's still...
We need to get up to that ledge up there.
He still said it.
There is always a way.
Yep. Haven't you learned by now, Atreus? Weren't you in hell with Thrud when she said the same thing?
Do you see?
Oh, why didn't I think of that?
The solution is not always obvious.
Yeah, Kratos? Killing Heimdall? Maybe not the solution?
Above you! Look out! My arrows will slow her down!
What else are we fighting here? Oh.
I think I hear him up ahead.
We do this my way now.
I guess your way means...
It means what you think it means.
Can't we try and...
We have the power to limit the harm this creature can cause. We will use it.
Okay.
Damn. Oh boy. We will use it in part 26. That was mean, wasn't it? Wasn't that mean for me to go up on that pillar and make you think that we were going to go do it? And now I'm leaving? I know. That was mean. That was mean. But I did it. That was not nice. If I'd have stood on the platform, I think you probably would have been a little more okay, but friends, thank you so much for taking the time. I appreciate that you all watch these videos and that you support what I do. If you're watching this on YouTube, thanks so much for taking the time to watch the video. I am grateful for that. If you support the stream financially in any kind of way, I appreciate that as well. Check out memberships on Fourth Wall if you're watching this on YouTube. Also, if you're watching it on Twitch, it's a great way to support the stream. It's even more effective than YouTube memberships or Twitch subs, but I appreciate those as well. If you listen to my music and all that fun stuff, thanks for that as well. I am grateful for those of you that hang out live on Twitch as well. And if you're on YouTube, I'd love to see you over there sometime. But leave a like, leave a comment, even if the comment is, I hate you for putting me on this cliffhanger here. If you're binging, I'll see you in 26 when we go do Kratos' plan if you're waiting for the next episode to come out. I'll catch it when it comes out. There we go. It was literally a cliffhanger. I was waiting. I was waiting for somebody to pick that up. We're literally hanging from a cliff right now.